Hello, and welcome to Mini Monster Mashers Explained. It's been said that it's the most confusing game ever created, that nobody on Earth will ever understand it, and that the rules just don't make sense. So we're going to start at the very beginning, right? Here's rules printed. Nobody has time to read, so let's throw those out because that's outrageous. We're going to start with the basics. We're going to start with the idea of a card. If you don't know what a card is, I don't know what to tell you. It's a piece of paper. These pieces of paper are wrapped in lamination, just so they last a little bit longer for training purposes. There's a back of a card and a front of a card. Unbelievable moments. Alright, now that we understand that extremely difficult part to Mini Monster Mashers, which does confuse a lot of people, cards, it's literal. It's a card. Okay, let's move on. On the cards, there's essentially series of symbols and sometimes words, right? If we look at our card here, you can see that there's a name and a series of hearts with the word HP, which stands for hit points. A monster, which is on a card, has a series of hearts. If they lose their hearts, that card is removed from the game. Unbelievable. If you don't know what a heart looks like, it is right there. Okay, now we're going to go a little bit further. Now that we've discovered what a heart is, what a card looks like, and that monsters have names, we're pushing the limits of reality, right? Each card has a number, right? The number is available on the card. The number's just so that I know how to number each and every one and to know where I'm at when creating them. Plus, in the real world, if you were to collect them, you could be like, wow, I have all of those numbers. Whew. But it doesn't affect gameplay, so make sure it doesn't scare you too much. Alright, we're going to move on to the middle of the card. This is the fun one that everybody seems to like. It's an image. This also scares people. They go, I don't get it. An image, and you go, yeah, there's a picture of the monster. This is pretty normal in every single TCG I think ever made. But it is something that confuses people. They go, but there's like a story behind it and everything else. But remember, we're just talking about a card. And since we learned what a card was, we're still good to go. On the card, sometimes you'll see names of attacks and abilities next to a series of symbols. The number of symbols, or the number of things on the card, depend on what kind of card is it, right? We're getting really technical and we're about to push the boundaries of mental reality. This is a minion card. It's physically different looking. It's purple, the edges are different, it has less HP, but if we look closely, probably at this picture, they only have 2 attacks or abilities, as they are half of a regular monster. Therefore, they count as half a monster on the playing field in the game. We're not that far yet, and I know I just scared a lot of people off. Alright, now let's go to monster cards. A monster card has more attacks or abilities as they are more complex, older, or a fully developed creature in the game. They count as 1. Because they exist as 1. One of the fun facts about cards is that they go in order on every single card the same way. A card is split up for something called mashing, which we'll explain in advanced play. For right now, the top of the card, right, has the top ability and or attack. That's their head. It's literal. The next one on the card is their arms. That's literal. The middle, or second to the bottom, would be their torso. That's literal. And the bottom would be their legs. Again, this is all a part of how a card is set up. Every single card is the same. And in advanced play, you'll need to understand exactly why the card needs to be in order. Not that it affects you in any way when you're just getting started. It's literally just a list and you read it. Literally. Okay, now that we've gone past some very complex things, we're going to talk about the symbols on a card. All right. Now, one of the main two symbols you're going to see almost on every single card is a small picture of a gun for ranged attack, equaling 3 squares in front of your opponent. But don't worry about that right now. Squares are for a different video. Just remember, a gun means it can be fired or used ahead of you, where the sword symbol, that one means it has to be touching you. The two monsters have to be touching on the field. Just like in real life, if you had a sword, or knife, or battle axe, or whatever you got. Okay, we're going to take things to the next level, and we're going to scare a lot of people. Some cards, when they have the sword or gun, they're going to have a heart associated with them. Now, if we remember, monsters have hearts as HP, and if you're attacking with a sword or a gun with X number of hearts, let's say 1, that means if you successfully pull it off, you can remove 1 or more hearts from the top of the card that you're attacking on the field. Unbelievable, I know. Now, we get a little bit confusing pretty soon. There's also a shield, right? Shields represent blocking, and blocking can be either associated with a sword, meaning a melee attack, a gun, meaning a ranged attack, or it can have neither and just a shield. Now, we're going to start getting technical and extremely confusing. If there is a picture of a coin and a shield with an associated sword or gun, that means you have a essentially 50% chance of blocking that X attack. Now, how do we do this? We're about to go crazy. The fun fact about Mini Monster Mashers, at least in the beginning of the game that I invented, is that everything is decided with a coin flip. Never flipped a coin? Well, I'm sure we can teach you. See, the first thing you need to do, right, you can take almost any object, and you decide whether there's a top, a bottom, and which one is positive. I'm going to say this is the positive side, right? Bam. You learned how to flip something. Unbelievable moments here on Mini Monster Mashers tutorial. Okay, let's keep it moving, because I know if you guys need a break, just hit the pause button, rewind, and try to understand all that extreme information again. Alright, now we're going to go into the little symbol that's next to some of the attacks or abilities. It's a little moon. Alright. There's 3 different moon phases in Mini Monster Mashers. That gets a little scary, I know. But we're going to break it down nice and easy for everyone who's having a really hard time at home. So, if you see a moon that's lit up on the left side and not the right side, that means you can use the attack, but the next turn, because it's not lit up, you have to wait. Now, there are ones that are reversed, which means you need to use a turn to initiate that ability, to prep it, to charge it, and you skip your attack phase for that turn, or that turn for your ability, until the next turn in which you can use it. Scary. Now, there's combinations where you'll see a symbol, that's the moon, where it's lit up, shadowed, and then a double shadow. We're about to get really scary. If you break down a moon that equals 2 halves, and you make both of them shadowed, that equals 2. That's right, everybody. 1 plus 1 is 2. And if you add a third, 2 plus 1 is 3. Which means you need to wait 3 turns for this to happen. Yep. That's some pretty insane math. 1 plus 1 plus 1. But if you remember how those 3 numbers go together, 1, 1, and 1, you probably can pull it off. If you need a piece of scratch paper to keep all that information in your head, what is 1 plus 1 plus 1? We can have that for you, right? I'm sure you have a piece of paper at home. And if not, use your phone because you're probably watching this on a phone anyway. Okay, we're about to go crazy. We're going to get into some of the abilities, right? This one also freaks a lot of people out. They have a really hard time with it. Okay, now, we have a card like Effector, right? He's up there. He's got a poison face, right? Mr. Yuck. Now, normally, you have to flip for this. He doesn't have a flip. You can choose to A, give him poison, or not. If you give somebody poison, they lose 1 heart per turn in which they're poisoned. The number of turns depends on how you personally are playing the game. There's easy, normal, and difficult. On easy mode, it simply counts as 2 turns. In intermediate mode, or medium, you can flip at the beginning of your turn to remove that poison. If you're on hard mode, it doesn't matter how long you wait, you have to keep flipping until it goes away. Where in medium, it only lasts 2 turns. Alright everybody, if you need to rewind and watch that again to really understand what poison does, that's okay. But I'll be moving on. We now have some other effects, right? We have the effect like silence. It's a zipper face. It's essentially the exact same model as poison. You can either A, have it last 2 turns, B, do it where you can flip out of it, but it at least lasts 1 turn, or C, difficult, it lasts until you flip it away. You can only flip one status effect away per turn, so you need to pick which one you want if you manage to flip it correctly. Okay, but silence. This is where it gets a little confusing. Now, most attacks are a series of hearts, right? 1 to blank, with a sword or a gun. All right? Now, everything else is an ability. Silence stops you from using abilities. I know. Until it's removed. Okay. We're getting really complicated now. Now, there's also cards that utilize a small stop sign. Okay. Now, if silence removes your abilities, stop sign, that's right everybody, removes your attacks. So you can no longer use your sword or your gun until it's removed. Okay. We're also going to talk about healing, right? We have 2 main... Where the hell is the doctor? 2 main healing monsters. Healing is a picture of a little teeny tiny hospital. If the monster has the heal ability, that means instead of attacking, it uses the heal ability to heal itself or any one monster on the field. I know, it gets a little crazy. This one, like heal, right? It's a small nurse robot, has an ability called run. Now, run allows you to move 3 squares, which we'll talk about later. But it's important we talk about the fact that a card may have things written on it that you don't quite understand. Just like trade, right? Speedster has trade. You can move, and if you don't want to attack, move a second time. But we're not quite there yet. We're not to moving cards on a physical field. We're only talking about abilities. Now, I don't have one here necessarily, but there is a card ability called Grab. Okay? This one gets really confusing. It's not in the original starter deck, but I feel it's important to talk about. Grab is a little different than stop or silence. Grab stops your opponent from moving, whereas stop stops your opponent from attacking. Silence prevents your opponent from using abilities. Grab prevents you from moving because you grab them and you're holding them in place. Now, if you were grabbed, right, this monster that's being grabbed can still use an attack or ability. It just can't physically move on the board. Also, if you have a grabbed monster, you can move it with you on your one move phase. But there are certain monsters in the deck that can move a monster as a turn. Some say push. Push would mean you push your monster forward from wherever you're standing. Some say pull, which means if you take a step back and you initiate pull, at the same time, you now can move that monster with you. You also have free move, where you can move a monster anywhere around you. That's rarer, but it is there and it is specified in text on a card. But it can be extremely confusing. The next one we can talk about is obstacles. That's right, everybody. Not only are monsters on a battlefield and available for you to choose from, there's also obstacles. In the trainer set, there's a fire pit and a metal wall. Now, my mistake was not adding the hit points to this because I hadn't invented the second kind of gameplay yet. But essentially, if you wish to remove the fire, you simply have to flip until you successfully put the fire out. If you want to remove the wall, you simply have to hit it 3 times. Now, the wall is interesting because on it is a picture of a ladder. And if you notice in your starter deck, there's a picture of a ladder on the card. Now, if you were playing the game and you saw a ladder and your monster also has a ladder, that means you can stand on top of the obstacle, not the fire. You can't climb fire. You only can get burned. Unless you have shield fire, which I don't think I have that one here. But there is one that exists. Shield fire. Pretty simple. Yeah. And that's the basics of Mini Monster Mashers. Understanding the card, what it is, and what are the things a monster can do. If I missed anything on your starter deck, but I don't think I did, let me know in the comments. There's a lot more to talk about, and we're going to do it on the next video. Alright everybody, keep on mashing.